I know what you all might be thinking. Rocket League, lore, really? I'm serious. I firmly believe Psyonix has been dropping hints and little lore tidbits of each new Rocket Pass and Rocket Pass trailer, and I'm about to propose all my ideas to you now, so stay tuned to the end of the video to find out how this all connects to Fall Guys. But before we begin this quest into the Rocket League lore, first we need to talk about our sponsor for today's video, All-Star24, who is my ultimate mortal enemy who I cannot stand, but he was nice enough to sponsor this video, and he makes nice enough content, which includes longer uploads, which he doesn't really upload that much anymore, and shorts, of course. Lots and lots of shorts. That's the reason he's got all of his subs, and that's the reason mostly I got all my subs. So, yeah, make sure to go check out his channel. Link is in description. It's also popping up in the corner right now. You should totally go check it out. First off, we need to discuss the basics here. The world we see of the arena and the stages of the egg people are in fact just a fraction of how truly big this car soccer world really is. And there's a couple ways I can prove this. The first one is one of the more obvious and well-known ones, and it's in the files of the Urban Central map that there is actually unused dialogue for different things that would be said over an intercom that reference things happening outside of the arena. Take a listen.
All vehicles currently participating in the Rocket League match will be impounded without further notice. For your safety, please no boosting on the platform. Train 48 is now departing for San Diego at Platform 4. Please watch your step when entering or exiting the trains.
So, not only does this prove the fact of 1, these eggs do have lives and are not just faceless demons from the pit of shadows, and 2, the RL cars and normal cars are parked outside of the arena, so these are areas these battle cars can get to outside of the arena. So, meaning there's actually an area outside of just this field. There's a world around us when we play. As shown in the new map from Season 8, Sovereign Heights, there's lots of different signs and such that reference different maps from the past that you can get to through a highway of sorts, as we see. In one of the most classic maps of Rocket League, Beckwith Park, in the background, you can actually see Champions Stadium. So these two maps are some of the closest ones there are. The only maps that aren't connected to this world are Wasteland and the Starbase Arcs, but more on those later. Now that we have some basics, it's time to look into one of the most debated questions of Rocket League. Who's truly in the cars? The eggs have always been so mysterious to me, because they're sentient as we are. They have shops, lives, and, yes, this. Many have theorized that the cars of Rocket League are simply big, futuristic RC cars, but I don't think that. I think these cars are the futuristic version of the cars we have now, but they're piloted by these egg beings. Why are they hidden, you ask? Because the other eggs would never accept the fact that their own are in these cars. The eggs in the stadiums have been lied to for so long. That is why the Sovereign crew tells that soccer belongs on the street. Because it does. The people in these matches of Rocket League, you, are all part of this underground gang of eggs who have split off from the others to forge this new path of theirs to revolt in simple egg fashion. The eggs do have personality. There is a 1 in 19,038,674 chance of an egg spawning in a stadium with a smiley face. The eggs have faces! This has never been actually found in a game or seen on footage, but exists in the files, so it's very well possible. These are the oldest. My theory about these ones with the faces are these are the oldest, last remaining outer eggs from the first stage. As seen on billboards, the insides of the Rocket League eggs have yolks, and even the yolks have faces. That's why Sovereign Heights is one of the older, if not first built cities by the elder eggs, as shown by these different billboards with eggs with smiley faces on them. But this wouldn't last forever, for the eggs getting more and more smarter and wanted to expand to new worlds. The eggs soon left their planet and advanced Rocket League-like cars, but with wings on them, and traveled to a distant desert-like planet. But what they didn't know was this was the planet ruled by an evil race known as the Guardians, which leads the eggs to have to make a special task force known as the Ark, and made a hub to blast off to this distant planet in the form of Starbase Ark. In the stories of both of Psyonix's past games, Ark Squadron, past games, in the story of Psyonix's past game, Ark Squadron takes place. And during all this war, to keep the eggs from panicking, the car soccer continues and becomes a professional sport that takes eggs' minds off of the war. The Ark Squadron proves to be successful, as they defeat the evil race and destroy the robot, which you see its scattered remains all around the map of Wasteland. Some of these pieces of the robot are even blasted into space. Life seemed to go back to normal for the eggs, but it wouldn't remain that way forever. The elders of this egg race had grown up around this chaos, and together they had solved many problems together. But one faction of the eggs grew greedy with the power that was now given to them, and wanted to conquer more planets with the newfound technology they had discovered. But the other eggs didn't agree with this motive, and a war struck out. But instead of fighting with weapons, they settled it the way they had grown up seeing: soccer. The Federation of Orange and the Federation of Blue let their differences become set out with the way of competitive. They would host these matches, determine which of these players would continue further and which would get the boot. And if you did eventually make it to the highest matches possible, the Federation would sign you off to go into the World's Championship, known as the RLCs. And whoever won these games would become the ruler of the Eggs World for that year. So this conflict stays the same, even now to where you start playing. But something was about to change everything the eggs had known about their lives. The day started out normally. The eggs had just programmed a new robotic system to build them a new car to show off in their next Rocket League match. And while they were waiting for this car to be finished, they were all peacefully just watching a Rocket League match in the Starbase Ark, when the sky itself seemed to burst open and a black hole opened to reveal millions of ships, followed by a huge ship. Quickly, the eggs sent out their best elite fighters, but it wouldn't be enough. They couldn't stop them in time, and the Starbase Ark was blown a chunk out of it. Seeing this unwinnable war, the two egg federations had no choice but to surrender. And who was it, you ask, that took over the eggs? Well, I think it was Psyonix itself. That's right. I'm telling you that the Psyonix developers were the ones that took over Rocket League and enslaved all these peaceful egg beings. And who were their little minions they sent out to do it? The Moai heads. Okay, I'm guessing you're all probably left by now, or you're gonna start calling me out on being an idiot. But haven't you ever wondered why these random Moai heads appear everywhere in each map? Like, what's even the reason for this? There's not like a good reason given to us like other Easter eggs in the game. And I think the reason they're here is because they're here as the reason I think they're here is to watch over the eggs and the Rocket League matches. That's why they appear in every map, because they're always watching over the eggs to ensure none of them step out of line. The Moai heads, also while they were watching these eggs, saw and were fascinated by the behavior of them enjoying these Rocket League matches and entertainment. So they decided to test and experiment with these eggs in a possible new way of entertainment for them. Why they are doing this after the effects of the Moai takeover begin. Why they are doing these experiments, a bunch of different repercussions and after effects of this invasion begin to start, with us first seeing a local Rocket League television station, which I guess exists, gets shot and electrocuted, making it fizzle, and a cartoon coming to life and exploding into the Neo-Tokyo area, turning it into a cartoon. And then the Sylvan crew finally resurfacing after so long from starting car soccer, annoyed about all this professionalism that had become of their sport, also resurface. That, and even the Civil War seemingly heating up again with the opening of Forbidden Power in one fateful game of Rocket League, when a Roll 1 was not broken, as it never should be, ended up with an explosion happening that happened in the Forbidden, that broke a crystal ball that seemed to contain the elements of fire and ice in them. This crystal ball then unleashed 2 dragons. Each dragon was tamed by one of these egg factions, and the once Federation of Blue and Federation of Orange became the Federation of Flame and the Federation of Ice for this short time. Why this is all happening, the Moai made a stunning breakthrough in their experiment and mutated the eggs, making them gain legs and hands and even 2 dots for eyes, and their shell turning into a squishy, blobby, like bean substance? Yes, the eggs had become Fall Guys.
Okay, I think at this point, I had practically lost my mind. I have no idea what the past me was thinking when he typed all this up on that stupid script. None of this makes sense. This is just a bunch of things. What? But okay, on with part 6, the final part of the theory.
By now, you had arrived and begun your Rocket League journey. Unknowingly of all the past and the world around you, you hope to improve and one day become even one of the great in SSL. But you're stuck in Plat, so that'll most likely never happen. But maybe, just maybe, you could be the savior to this world and finally stop the Moai and reunite the 2 factions of Egg Folk. Meanwhile, these mutated eggs, now Fall Guys, are trapped in an infinite loop of playing in a reality TV show, and they have no idea of their past lives in this Rocket League world. All they know is falling and trying to grab that precious crown. That was until one Fall Guy saw what was really happening and began a plan and a prep to rise up and build a satellite just like the old from Starbase Ark and finally free the eggs and Fall Guys of their oppressors. If you want more information on this, I'll link to a good video I watched that explained all the Fall Guys lore, which also apparently exists. Don't expect me to make a video on that because that was already pretty well explained and everyone probably knows that a little bit better. But yeah, I'll leave a link and it'll pop up in the description below. All of this now is what happens while you play and practice a simple game of smacking a ball into a net. And this is the story of Rocket League. What happens next is unknown, but whatever in store, it will be fun. So keep playing, and who knows, you just might be the one to save us all.